what will happen is as you start to post more and more, YouTube will keep the description for you. So when you click on it, it'll now have that same description as the last video, and you can just take out what you need. So that's really handy.
Okay.
Yeah. And the description is where, like, hashtags don't really matter anymore for YouTube in this moment. It changes all the time, but it does help you. It does help with ranking, and it does help to have something because of SEO, right? It does look at it, but since YouTube is owned by Google, it does take that into consideration. So your description is pretty important. What I do is I put the description of the video itself before I put the description of who I am. Most times, not every time. Sometimes I mix it. So that's one thing. Or that's the next thing. Also, your title and your thumbnail. Have you started thinking through that?
I have to do that still.
Yeah, so that's something you want to do. And I think this is a really good time for you to either use ChatGPT or some other type of AI. And it can help you with your description. It can help you with your titles. Like, you would prompt it and say, give me 10 title options about my video that is about this. And then it gives you the options, and you might say, do that again, but make them only up to 6 words or only up to 10 words, or, you give it more prompts, and it starts to give you these different ideas. And somewhere in there, you'll find a good title. And you want to say optimize for clicks, optimize for this, for YouTube. And then your thumbnail, you do some design work, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can design a nice thumbnail, and you can look through other people's vlogs, I think, to see that. You also want to remember through the course that thumbnails are really important, because YouTube wants people to be able to click on it and just click on it as soon as they see it. They're going to put it out there for you. People need to be able to click on it, know what it's about. Shouldn't have a lot of words. It should have maybe 1, 2, or 3 words total. And then the title tells more, and then the video itself tells even more. I also wanted to thank you for the shout out. That's very cool.
Yeah, of course. It's just, this is what is, like I said, I've been thinking about this for years, and really that push, or that like, hey, go forward. Right?
Yeah.
So, is you, that's helping me a lot. And, I'm just so grateful. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. You're welcome. So I would also say that this video, you seem very natural I wrote down, you seem very natural on camera. And what happens is, which is great, that's going to be fun. It's not like you're doing a perfectionist thing where you have to keep stopping. You're going to be able to,
right.
That's really great. So what I encourage you to do is not to delete this video ever. Like when you get further along, let's say you're 20 videos in, and it's been a few weeks or a few months, and you're 20 videos in, and you're getting more and more views, you might say, well, let me go back and delete these older videos because they're not as good as these newer ones. Maybe you might say that. Don't do that. Because what a lot of people like to do is go back in the archive and see where you started and kind of follow your story. A lot of people like to see a progression in a YouTube channel, and that gives them inspiration as well. So I think people make a mistake when they delete those early ones.
Right. And you can that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
No problem. You can also put a little clip of the video in a new video a few months from now, and you can say, this is my first video, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I started, but now I have 1,000 subscribers, and you can use it over and over again and tell the story.
Right.
I think I'm just going through my notes. I wrote down that this video sets the tone. Sets the tone for it. When it comes to what you said at the very end of the video, which is like, you called it a certain Patricia Lay talks.
Yeah, Patricia Lay speaks.
You said it was because you wanted to talk about a lot of different topics. I think right now that's perfect. It's actually the best thing you can do is to talk about a lot of different topics. But what you need to do is also watch the metrics. See what's actually people are not only clicking on, but go in there and look at how the retention. It says engagement in the dashboard. Click on that engagement. See not only how many minutes somebody stayed, because depending on how many minutes your video is, that could be lower. Look at the percentage. If you take that smaller number of how many minutes they watched and divided by the number of minutes of the video, it tells you what percentage of people watched, right? And then eventually it'll just tell you there, but it takes like 2 or 3 days to tell you that, because it kind of catches up with itself. So I would do that and just do the first 10 videos and just do whatever comes to you, or answer questions that you get, or whatever comes to you, and then just see what's working. Because it's like, for instance, sometimes vlogs do really, really well, and sometimes they don't. It's just like, it's so ebbs and flows, you never know. So I would just put it out there. And then over time, what you want to do is you want to become more and more specific.
To niche down some more. Yeah, and that's always been an issue for me, is finding what that specific niche is, because I can touch on so many topics. But I remember from the YouTube course, it's saying, like you said, like, look at the metrics or the analytics. Maybe people are most interested in this that one topic or that one whatever portion of my journey or something, and then do more of that, right? It's like that one thing better each time. So
that 1% better each time. Yeah.
1% better each time. Yeah. And I was thinking, because I know people were saying, oh, do like, you need to post multiple times a week. And I felt like for me, that was like pretty scary. But at the same time, like I understand the frequency. I think you had mentioned, forget if it was on a Monday or something. It's more, right, your educational, like talking to us, like just like this through the camera, right? And then I don't know if it's Thursdays or so, it's a vlog style of like where you're going, what you're doing. So like, what's that?
So what I do is this is personal. This doesn't have to be what everybody else does. Some people do Sundays, Wednesdays, whatever.
Right.
I on Monday do the straight to camera for the most part. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do like compilation videos or people speaking in interviews, but I'll do something that I feel is more educational. And then on Thursdays, I'll do like, and again, this can change. Sometimes I do it on Wednesdays or Saturdays, but most of the time, I'm going to do something on Thursday. It'll be just like an experiment. It'll be more of an experiment to see. And it might be a vlog. It might be a video that I recorded, and I remixed it or something like that. But I think that if you wanted to have one video per week, that would be fine. That's quite a bit, I think if you wanted to do 2 videos a week, I really think this early, it does 2x it speeds up your growth. I don't know if that happens constantly, but at least this early it does. And also what's kind of cool is like, if you put a video out and you get 5 views and you're like, okay, I got 5 views, 5 people watch that. That's pretty cool. You might put the next video out and it gets 27 views. And then you might put the next video out and it gets 3 views. But if you're doing it 2 times a week or once, 3 times every 2 weeks or whatever, you don't have to stay in pain too long. You have to experiment again. And so you're going to get a little addicted to it. But the most important thing, no matter what, it doesn't matter how many you put out. The most important thing is that you only put out videos when they're actually valuable to put out. Don't do it for this. Oh my God, what do I put out this Thursday? Don't do that, because then it's like, oh, people are going to know, the algorithm will know, oh, you're not giving value. People are clicking off, right? So you definitely want to just optimize for, do I have something to say? If you have something to say 5 days a week, say it. If you have something to say 1 time a month, say it. That's going to be the best version of what you do, in my opinion. And remember that blog style is tough sometimes, but sometimes it really picks up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And then in the future, like you're going to think about it now, but even more so in the future, you'll think about your next video. I would put a timer on and cut yourself off at maybe 8 to 10 minutes. Or if you're doing a deep dive and you're like, this is going to be an hour long, then make it an hour long. But if it's a short video, start to do what you do with writing, which is start to edit yourself a little bit. Start to, you want every minute of it, every word you want to be valuable. But that doesn't happen in video 1 or 5. It happens over time. You just get better and better and better at it. You'll see also in the dashboard, once this is up for a few days, you'll see when people dropped off. You'll see when people said, oh, okay, 40% stayed through 30 seconds. That's interesting. Okay, great. That's awesome. 20% stayed to the very end. That's great. But if you're seeing that people are like dipping out at certain parts, it starts to help you understand it, and it lets you click on that part to see, okay, this was just not as riveting to them as it was to you. Right. And so you want to edit in a way, you want to be natural, but you also don't want to necessarily repeat yourself too much, because YouTube the audience just doesn't sit there for it.
Right. And that was, I think, part of the opening thoughts of sorts is like bullet pointing certain things. So in that case, I was mainly going off of that business or lifestyle, travel, mental health thing. So it was just, I think I was just like, okay, just do it already. Because that's
why I very specifically said this video is locked. I would like, if I thought you needed to edit this video, I would tell you. I think this video is locked because it's what you are, right? It represents you.
Yes.
As you go in every video, you're trying to get a little bit better and a little bit more optimized. That's just one thing to keep in mind.
Okay.
Because you can start seeing the information. The information is going to tell you more than I can. The metrics will tell you very specifically things that I'm just guessing about.
Okay.
It's just something to look out for. And it took me months to know this stuff, so I'm just telling you in a few minutes, you just learn it over time. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there ever a time you're using like that teleprompter thing where it's on the screen? So if you make a script or bullet point stuff for yourself, or?
Personally, I do not. I'll tell you, there's 2 options. So for me, when I started my first course on video in April of 2020, right after COVID started, I did the teleprompter, and I made a script. I made a full-on script, and I started to do that so I could record, because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. So I recorded that, and it was terrible. I couldn't make it look natural. I couldn't sound natural when I was saying it. It was like I was reading and I was like, da, 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 da. And so finally I was like, I'm not doing that. What I'm going to, but I can't memorize. So what I'm going to do is just make some bullet points. I'll have some bullet points. I'll put it up, kind of prop it up on my laptop there. I'll look over it at it. Nobody cares. Nowadays, you'll see people with their full laptop up. You'll see on my videos, you'll notice I have a full laptop up and I have bullet points on the laptop.
Okay.
So now I'll peek at it and I'll just kind of riff on it, right? The other option, though, is that there are some very successful YouTubers in the vlogging space and the educational space who do use and love teleprompters, and every word that they say is scripted almost, and you don't necessarily notice it. So the answer depends on what are you good at? Are you good at? Does it help you, or is it more natural to have a few bullet points to guide you?
Right. And that was one of the things I was thinking about this past week too, because same thing, just like I'm fine talking in front of crowds of people. And it is the more practice I get in front of a camera. As soon as, even if I'm by myself, Arlan, like I would practice guitar and sing, which I'm terrified of in front of people. But that was one of the things I did in Palermo, and actually played with the jam band at the place that I sang Mustang Sally with the group. The guy who owned the building, actually, he held the jam sessions more like our age, and it was awesome. You know, it was just super fun. So I know it's the more practice I get, but I think bullet pointing is probably the way to go for me. I could try a script, but see, that's what I was worried about, is I don't know if it's gonna be so robotic or what, because
Here's what I would do if I were you, based on the video I just watched. I would put my phone sideways. I'd put a timer on there that's a countdown timer to 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 8 minutes. And so I'd have that there so I could know when to kind of go to the next thing. And then I would have bullet points.
Okay.
Make sure that you want to make sure that before you even record the video, you know that the video is going to be something that somebody can find. And the way that somebody can find a video is by being about a topic. So when I say it's a good idea to do a lot of things and see what sticks, I mean per video. One video is about this, the next video is about the next thing, and so on, so that you can see people really liked this topic.
Okay.
You don't want a lot of videos that are about a lot of things, because it's harder to know what they're sticking around for and what they are drawn to. And it's also harder to title, and it's harder to then put a thumbnail together, and harder to put a description together. And you want to optimize for being able to do all three even before you start recording. You want to be able to say in your mind, like, oh yeah, I know what that thumbnail might look like. I know what that title would be. Something like that, you know?
Right. Is it similar like with email marketing and all these other things, like one topic and that's it, that we get the clear main focus? Okay.
Exactly. They say that if you make an email and it has more than one link, you've shot yourself in the foot. If you have one link and one call to action in an email, then you're winning. It's very true that it's the same here at YouTube or with YouTube. And then within your channel, it can be about different things for now. So think about it as like a channel on TV. You're going to have different TV shows. It's one channel, but 3 o'clock might be about this and the next might be about that, but it's not going to be so crazy all over the place. It's going to be kind of similar, but different topics. So that's what I would do for the first 10 or 20 videos. And even to make the third video, you might do, it might hit a nerve and get a couple thousand views. And you might be like, what? Oh my gosh, that topic is so interesting to people. Let me talk more about that.
Okay.
Yeah. And don't worry if you only get a few views out the first videos. And by the same token, if you get 1,000 views the first video, don't assume that'll happen the next one.
Right.
It's like one by one, and then all of a sudden you'll look up and you'll have 1,000 subscribers, and you'll say, where did they all come from? It's really fun in the dashboard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll just keep going through this, and same thing, just trying to keep it simple. I was just going to add some audio, stock music stuff in the front and in the back. That's how come there wasn't any sound. But I was able to make that intro, outro clips, and that just quick thing. So, okay.
And also in the future, you want to make sure that you get to, you can have an intro, but what most people do is they do 10, 20, 30 seconds of like, here's what the thing is about. Like, I'm talking to you already. I just go right into it. I'm talking, and then you can kind of cut into your intro.
Oh, okay. That's what you do in your videos. Yeah, where you start talking about, it's like a snippet of the thing, and then it does the intro, and then it goes to the video. Okay.
It's really important that when somebody clicks on your video, the title and the thumbnail match what they see you talk about when they first click. So then they know, okay, this is really going to be about that. Okay. And so that's why you do it. So if you put your intro there every time, which a lot of people do, and you'll notice they have lower clicks if they do that, it's because it's like, oh, I have to listen to this intro. I have no attention span. I just want to click on it and get right to the point. And then if you get me for 10 or 20 seconds, then you can show me your 10-second intro reel. That's fine. Let's get back to it.